This is Nurullah with you all. Today I'm just going to give you some small tips about dashboards. You must have heard about dashboards, Microsoft Excel dashboards so many times. Already you might have known that no matter what the amount of data in Microsoft Excel, you can put it in a meaningful presentation in terms of making it as a summary, as pivot tables. In turn, pivot table can be made into pivot charts. Different kinds of charts, which is able to be made in dashboards. I'll show you. This is a dummy data. Again, another set of dummy data. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to make a very small, sample of, dashboards. See, using this dummy data, I already did some works in this in this Excel file to save some time, because as an intermediate Excel user, you might have known how to prepare pivot tables. This is the source data with how many rows, 1419 rows, 1419 rows with multiple columns, which is basically an employee's data with serial number, employee name, gender, nationality, department, position, project, appointment date, appraisal rating, employee status, salary details, and total salary. Okay, so this is a basic data set. Now what you want to make, you will be able to make them into pivot tables. How to make pivot tables, you all know. Just if you don't know, if you are a basic user, I will teach you. Just select the data, go to insert and make pivot table and click OK, and that is how simple it is to make a pivot table. From this pivot table you can drag and drop these fields here, row, value, or column. Okay, which I already did that actually. Let me delete this sheet to save some time. So let me go to the pivot tables which I already prepared. I created based on this raw data, which is based on, in this pivot tables, I replicated pivot tables in 3 pivot tables. How to replicate pivot tables? You can create as many pivot tables as you want, just by copying and pasting it in different Control C, and you will paste it in a different area, Control V. Different pivot table comes, and using this pivot table fields, you can rearrange and reorganize, and you can take the pivot table field of the old pivot table, and you can put whatever that you want actually, for example. So using this one, what I did is, let me make it big so that you will be able to see the big picture of it. Control minus. So let me make it a little bit big. Let me go home, Control home. See, this is the pivot table of nationality based on this source data I prepared. This is based on the nationality. And there is a pivot chart. How to create pivot chart, you all know. Click the pivot table, go to insert, and there is click recommended charts type, and automatically the Microsoft Excel will suggest and recommend you different chart types. And if you want to put your put chart of your preference, you can go and change the chart type, and you can insert and you can edit the chart with a good look of how you prefer it to look like. So I make a nationality pivot table. Let me just close the fields a little bit. Okay, like this, and I have copy pasted one more pivot table, which is gender, male and female, which is again I made a pivot chart, and there is another pivot table on employee work status, which is employees on leave and employees who are working. Okay, and there is a pivot chart accordingly. So this charts are a pictorial representation, graphical representation of what this text data is about. Whenever there is a management presentation, always rather than text, put it as a graphical representation which will look appealing, attractive, and very good looking actually, which will increase your impression as well. Sorry for my pronunciation. So, okay, so now I made this pivot table as a separate pivot tables. Now we want all these graphical representation in one small dashboard, and you want to see it based on the department. See, nationality, gender, and employee status are already there. You want to see these graphs changing based on the department. For the dashboard, there is an important thing. If you have an Microsoft Excel version before 2007, make sure that you are making the Excel file in Excel versions of after 2007, because before 2007 this slicers, there is in dashboard there is a option called slicer, which I will show you, which will not work in the versions of 2007 and before. So you have to use a Microsoft Excel version after 2007 version. Okay, go to insert, go to slicer, click slicer. If you click the slicer without doing anything, it will show you dialog box like this, and you need to go to the workbook and try to connect this slicer into whichever the field that you would like to connect. Rather than this, the better way to use, go to the pivot table, click here in one of the pivot table, go to insert, go to slicer, it is here, yeah, go to slicer, and now it will show you a dialog box of which field you want to select. What you want to show, you want to insert a slicer. How does it look like? I will show you. Let's select department and select, click OK. See, this is a slicer. See, this slicer is what basically, this is nothing but a kind of different filter. How you use the filter function, the same concept, same principle is applied in the slicers. When you click the different department, it will show you that department's count. If I click, for example, this slicer, based on whichever the pivot table on which I prepared this slicer, instead of filtering, go and filter, you click whichever the department, it will show you the relevant number. Now this slicer, you need to create this one in the sheet, cut it, go and make another sheet called dashboard, Control V. I will make it a little bit smaller. So this is the department slicer. Now you have to go and you have to give your pivot tables a name. Why you need to give a pivot table to your name, I will show you. I will let you know why I'm teaching you to make a pivot table name. By default, each pivot table is created by its own name. Pivot table 1, pivot table 2, pivot table 3. Go to the right click, go to the pivot table option, and here pivot table name is there. This is what nationality. Put the subject as the pivot table name, nationality. Click OK and go to department and go to pivot table option. Also pivot table 3, by default the name, make it as what is the name? Sorry, I forgot. Gender. Give the name gender. Click OK and go to the last pivot table which I created, which is employee status. Go here, right click, pivot table option, M underscore status. Okay, that's it. Now you created each pivot name, pivot table respective unique specific name. Now go to the dashboard. Now you want to copy all these the graphs into dashboard 1. It's a small miniature, very sample dashboard, but you can be creative and innovative to make as sophisticated, as complex, as attractive, as appealing as it could be, with multiple combinations and permutations. Okay, Control C, go to dashboard, Control V, paste here, sorry, pivot table, Control C, there is a keyboard issue, Control V. So this chart we are putting it here, and go to again pivot table, take another chart, Control C, Control V. Okay, it's already here. Control Z, sorry. I think first thing what I did is nationality. The second thing is I have to copy and paste again here, Control V. Gender, because I'm using a different laptop, the keyboard is not, I didn't get used to the keyboard yet. That's why there is a bit of hassle in copy, Control C, leave status, dashboard, Control V. Okay, so you copied national, gender, and go one more and leave status also, Control C, Control V, leave status. Okay, so all three graphs are here. Go and put it in a different way. Again, dashboard, despite the fact that it is data centric and the data is the main driven factor, where the data is going to be summarized the way that we want, Also the look is very important. So how much you are very cosmetic, and the way that you want the dashboard to look like is up to you, and it is directly corresponding to your designing skills as well, more than the data. How is it presented? For example, this is a very simple three graph dashboard. So let me go and give this a different color, fill different, let me put another color. Okay, now it is there. Now what you want to do, by clicking this, the department is like a filter here. This is called a slicer. This is what is called a slicer. Let me just make it big. Let me make it a little bit small so that you will be able to, sorry. Okay, see, go here, go up. I don't have a mouse, sorry for this hassle. Now you have to link all these three pivot tables to this slicer. How you can do this? Just click it, right click it, go to report connection. Now why I want you to give the pivot table name for each pivot table. If you have, for example, 30 pivot tables to connect to one dashboard in the complex dashboard creating, you will not be able to know which one is for gender, which one is for nationality. If you make the name for each pivot table, it will help you to link whichever the appropriate pivot table you need to link to the corresponding slicer. Now select all these three. You have to link these three pivot table reports to this slicer. That's it. Now it is very simple. I will show you your what is it? Small dashboard is ready now. Okay. Now simply see, if you want to see, for example, nationality, gender and leave status of the employees only who belong to finance, click finance. See, now in finance 100 peoples are there. In Philippine nationals, gender, female 100 people are there, and we have working people 4 people in finance department, on leave 96. It's dummy data. Okay, HR department, if you want to see nationality, 93 people from India, gender 93 males. It is, see, I put a dummy data, that's why it's not coming male and female. If you have a meaningful data, automatically this slicer and dashboard will give you the meaningful data. For go to operations, I will cover. If you go to operations, the nationality is there, the gender male or female, it's already here. 1120 females are there. If you want to counter check, you can go and counter check by filtering manually also. Go to sales team. Gender, male, how many males are there, how many females are there? Only males are there in 104. Sri Lankan nationality is 104, on leave 17 and working 87. If you go, for example, sales, go to nationality, go to source data, go to, let me filter this. Okay, go to sales data, go to sales department, right? Department. Go to sales. Okay, if you go to sales, go to gender. Gender, how many people are there in sales? 104 males are there. Yeah, if you go here on the dashboard, you can check. Sorry, 104 males are here, already here. So automatically in this way you can filter. If you want to release the filter, go here, click this small strike button, automatically the original dashboard will come. This is the basic concept of dashboard. You can make as complicated as I told, as sophisticated as it could be. This is the basic concept. Making the source data, making pivot tables, giving pivot table names, making graphs, and making slicer, connecting the slicer to the different pivot table reports, and click the slicer. And cosmetics, you have so many things to learn. You have to explore on the cosmetics of how you change the look. It will make your dashboard more appealing, but this is the concept. Thank you guys for watching. Have a fantastic day ahead.